Hello and welcome to my world in a casual review. This time around, we're talking about Mortal Kombat 10 or Mortal Kombat X. Depending on who you are and if you rightfully include Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe in the main timeline of events and the continuity, then you rightfully acknowledge that MKX is the 10th game in the franchise without skipping arguably the most important game in the franchise in terms of the modern history. I know that is a hot take, but considering how much of the justification of the story of Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11 and relies on the existence of Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, you just have to just go with it and bite the bullet and just acknowledge it for what it is. It's an odd duck, but it basically is the most important game because it justifies modern the story in modern Mortal Kombat games, which probably will extend to Mortal Kombat 1 as well when I eventually get around to playing it. For me, that game is not a high priority, but anyway, we're talking about Mortal Kombat 10 here. It's the middle game of the modern trilogy from Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11. It's the middle game. It's the game that does the most in terms of actually moving the franchise forward, because Mortal Kombat 9 was essentially a reboot, retelling, reorganizing, restructuring of the entire premise of Mortal Kombat from the original trilogy from back in the mid 90s, and just bringing it all together and putting characters in place to where they could actually be interesting. Liu Kang becomes interesting as a character for the first time when he is killed and turned into a revenant, and you actually see his character progress, where at the end of MKX he's heading up the with Katana, he's heading up the Nether Realm. It's like, that's compelling. There's so much stuff that you can do there. Raiden gets his most character development from Mortal Kombat 9 to Mortal Kombat 10. Dark Raiden become so interesting, and it's like so exciting. It's like, ooh, what can they do with it? And then we see them drop the ball with Mortal Kombat 11. So more, and then again, you have all the interesting new characters that get introduced: Devora, Cassie Cage, Jackie Briggs, Jin, Takeda, Aaron Black, Ferrator. These were characters for me that were new, exciting, fresh. That this brought a whole new breath of life, because in the previous game they killed off so many characters. So it was like, wow. It was like you dump all the dead weight, or put as much as the legacy characters, like in a position to where, like, okay, they're there, but they're not going to interfere with the progression of the story. Then Mortal Kombat 11 happens, and what does Ed Boon does? He's like, he's so far out of ideas that they just, let's refresh the timeline and make Liu Kang the protagonist again. Like, fuck off, man. So again, I have Mortal Kombat 10 does so much in terms of this breathing new life into the franchise, that, like, with everything that it does with character development wise, so many positive things were done with MKX. Just to see it stripped away in the next game of the series, and that they're doubling down on that with Mortal Kombat 1, rightfully pisses me off. So, so when I went back and played the story mode on stream for Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 10, it was like being reminded of, like, everything that was being done in this game in terms of the actual story of the franchise, and how much of it was being moved forward only for it to be all undone. It's like, just makes me go, what? It basically proves to me that the Mortal Kombat franchise, as long as Ed Boon is in charge of it, For me as a fan of the franchise, it's not worth investing in if they can't be trusted to move things forward. I mean, Mortal Kombat has essentially has falling into the trap that Street Fighter was in for so long, with the refusing of actually moving things forward. Street Fighter actually moved things forward with Street Fighter 6, and Mortal Kombat is now moving things backwards. Now, but again, that's again in terms of story, continuity, characters. That's that. The gameplay in Mortal Kombat 10 can be a bit divisive, much like the introduction of weapons way back in Mortal Kombat 4. And I'm speaking as someone who played that game in an arcade. The introduction of the variant system, where you did not have every character's full skills or combo sequences available to you. You had your main character, you selected your character, and you're selecting one of 3 variants. It's like, not only does that mean you have to go through every single character, every single variant to find ones that fit your play style, and if you're lucky, there will be at least one character that you're comfortable with in all 3. And for me, that was Cassie Cage. Way back when I played this on Steam, and even more so now when I recently replayed it. Yeah, like, but then you have for me, then you have characters who kind of aren't. I was not comfortable with, depending on their variant. A big example of that would be Raiden. There's like 2 of 3 Raiden's variants of something I was not really keen on using. Same could be applied to a lesser extent with Devora as well. But that's a whole other thing there. So it was like finding what worked, what didn't for you, for the individual, required a lot of experimenting, and it certainly made, back in the Steam version days, online matches kind of interesting to see what worked, what didn't work, and what gave you the best chance of winning. It kind of got, that aspect of it got toned down to some degree with Mortal Kombat 11. But again, overall, Mortal Kombat 10, it plays nicely. I mean, you still have your basic sequence. You can still do, like, almost every character had, like, the nice little variant of, okay, jump in, front kick, forward punch, back punch, uppercut, like almost every character you were able to do the same sequence with. Some were a little bit more difficult with others, like Sonya Blade's uppercut being like that slight handstand, double kick up, kind of made some sequences a little difference there in terms of my play style. But again, that kind of is what it is there. Voice acting wise, sound design wise, Mortal Kombat 10 still holds up very well. It has the best voice acting of the modern Mortal Kombat games that I have played. Then again, it's not bogged down by the likes of Ronda Rousey taking all the life out of Sonya Blade. Again, another I'm going to kick the shit out of Mortal Kombat 11 as much as possible. It's like, I could do a full review regarding Mortal Kombat 11 if I can find the footage of it, of my experience playing it, but that's maybe for another time there. But the voice acting in Mortal Kombat 10 is really solid. You got every character has the weight, the feeling is that you're all justified in everything. There is a nice evenness with everyone's performance as relates into the story, and in terms of all the grunts and groans and trash talk that takes place in, like, your standard matches, either in towers or the arcade ladders. It works. It's just really, really cool in that regard. Now, here in 2023, a number of features are discontinued in it, although the achievements for them are still active, which is really weird. I'm not sure if online matches on the Xbox side still work or not. Then again, how many people are still playing or going out of their way to play Mortal Kombat 10 here in the here in 2023? That's totally up in the air. So wasn't really able to dive into it. The faction war, you can still get some achievements through it, through like the real basic stuff, leveling up the character, getting your experience and everything. You can still grind out various achievements in it. But the question is, a lot of like the faction war and stuff related to online multiplayer. I know like a lot of the faction war stuff is basically disabled at this point, but somehow you're still able to earn some achievements through it. But that's kind of a whole mess in and of itself. Is Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 10 still worth playing here in the modern era? Yes, to some degree it is. Its story is very good and very fun to go through. You can go through it in 4 hours. The living towers and the variants that it provides, very unique challenges. You get some unique fatalities in it, so you get like unique visuals. But it is a game that is aged. Visually, it definitely looks its age as being like a game released in the middle of the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 lifespan cycle. But it kind of, again, it's a very it's it's a game that if you're going through the history of Mortal Kombat, it's definitely a game to dive into and spend some time with, particularly if you wanted to see where the franchise has gone through, at least in terms of the modern era, and considering at the very least on the Xbox side of things, it is backwards compatible. So it's like everything from MK versus DC, MK9, MKX, MK11, so you can play it on the Xbox Series consoles. And so you can kind of get a sense of where everything has come from, and at least in terms of the modern era of the franchise. So I would say it's required playing in that regard. Other than that, it's if by chance the head-to-head matches still work, it could still be fun. Otherwise, couch co-op, grab a friend or something, and just play it like the old days. But again, that's kind of like where it is on that. Anyway, that's my hot take on it. And granted, I spent some time ripping on Mortal Kombat 11. Don't get me wrong, Mortal Kombat 11 does have my gameplay wise. I love Mortal Kombat 11 overall, but there was a lot of stuff done in that game that undermined so much that was done in Mortal Kombat 10 that it's like that just pisses me off. Anyway, with that said, thank you very much. Tighten your friendship bracelet. Stay safe, and we hopefully will see you in the next video. Bye.